Something very near and dear to my heart is, of course, the beef industry, because you know what? On the weekends, I like to kick back. I like to have a steak. And of course, just like everybody else out there, except for those crazy vegans and vegetarians. But you know what? You can't always please everybody. So for the 95% of people out there, I'm sure you also appreciate a nice fine cut of steak and a nice burger every once in a while, of course. And myself on the weekends, I made allusions to it a couple of times in a bunch of different videos. On the weekends, yep, a little bit of sirloin, throw it on top of a salad. It's fucking aces, my dudes. And when I heard about this, it's like, oh, what the fuck are they doing now? It's almost like these cyber attacks that shut down these major industries. Yeah, they're coming from these radicals. And I don't think vegans have enough energy to stay up and do a coordinated cyber attack. I'm just thinking that, oh boy, do these natural energy attacks, and now the beef industry, it gets attacked. Some of the major talking points that went into the Green New Deal. I don't know. It's just, it's starting to make a little bit too much sense for what I'm comfortable with. But hey, what do I know? It's not like it was the single largest owner of beef plants across the United States and also leaked into Canada. Got attacked and it's going to have long-term effects. No, it's not like anything like that happened. Oh no. All of JBS's U.S. beef plants were forced to shut down by a cyber attack. Huh. Yeah, and like it says here, Union says beef processing plant at Canadian facilities halted Monday. Yeah, JBS USA says affected IT systems shut down after a May 30th attack. So, and the fact that this only got reported on like later part of today, and the articles are starting to get published within, I don't know, a few fucking minutes of this. Weird. Very, very weird. I'd imagine there's going to be some more stuff coming out about this, but this is just what we know right now. A cyber attack on JBS SA. A lot of letters. Let's just figure out what the fuck that is. The largest meat producer globally. Oh no. Forced the shutdown of all its U.S. beef plants, wiping out the output from facilities that supply almost a quarter of American supplies. Yeah, a not insignificant amount. All the company's fed beef and regional beef plants were forced to shutter, and all other JBS meatpacking facilities in the country experienced some level of disruption to operations, according to the officials, with the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union. JBS didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. The union represents workers at the company's plants in the United States. Slaughter operations across Australia were also down. Holy fuck. According to a trade group, and one of Canada's largest beef plants was idled. Ooh, somebody broke out the thesaurus. That comes after a weekend attack on a Brazilian company's computers networks, according to a JBS post on Facebook, labor unions and employees. It is unclear exactly how many plants globally have been affected by the ransomware attack, as Sao Paulo-based JBS has yet to release those details. That's exactly what happened with the Colonial Pipeline. The prospects of more extensive shutdowns worldwide is already upending agricultural markets and raising concerns about food security as hackers increasingly target critical infrastructure. Livestock futures slumped while pork prices rose. Interesting. What about bug burgers? What about Beyond Meat? Oh, didn't that already kind of fucking fall into bankruptcy? That sucks. And to kick a man while he's down, maybe Bill Gates will use this as an opportunity to tell us to just shut up, sit in the pods, and eat the bugs again, because the last time he popped up, when it wasn't about his divorce, he was trying to push on alternatives to meat, which landed with a warning on my account. So fuck him. Hopefully Melinda and his hot daughter take him for everything. Hackers now have the commodities industry and their crosshairs with the JBS attack coming just 3 weeks after the Colonial Pipeline. No, you don't say. Operators of the biggest U.S. gasoline pipeline was targeted in a ransomware attack. You don't say. White House offered assistance to JBS after the company notified the Biden administration on Sundays of a cyber attack from a criminally organized, likely based in Russia. Of course it was Russian. Those goddamn Russian hackers, they're so good. They're so good at everything. I wonder how much money they decided to leverage off of this attack. But okay, it was only shut down for a limited amount of time. The White House was immediately notified. They offered resources. Everything seemingly seems to be back online. Everything seems to be back online. So what about the beef that gets from those slaughter plants and then they end up on your kitchen table? How is it going to affect yourself and me? The impact on meat prices at the grocery store may not be immediately apparent. Little anecdote, like I said, purchase steak, buy it in bulk at Costco, wherever I can. Buy enough for like a month at a time, but Oh my God, I recently had to go buy some fucking sirloin steaks. And I would say for a comparable size, prices have jumped like $5 out of nowhere per pack. Might not seem like a lot, but if you're going from like a decent sized pack of sirloin steaks that are about $20, $25, and then all of a sudden they start jumping to about $30, $35, you get that $10 to $15 increase. Ooh. And then you have a whole lot fewer sitting in the cooler. I'm not saying Joe Biden's trying to install his idea of only one burger a month and 4 pounds of beef per year, but I'm just saying, I'm getting my tinfoil hat ready. I remember a lot of this stuff, and it's all starting to seem just a little bit too likely to start matching up. It's time to start doing some water samples and figuring out what's with all these birds in the area, or what's happening with these hermaphroditic frogs. Anyways, how long it goes on will impact on to what level consumers start to see something at the grocery stores, he said in a phone interview. President Biden directed his administration to do whatever it can to mitigate the impact on the meat supply. Attacks like this, one, highlight the vulnerabilities in our nation's food supply chain security, and they underscored the importance of diversifying the nation's meat processing capacity. Boy, does that sound exactly like we need to start transitioning away from the meat industry. Ugh. Senator John Thune, asshole from South Dakota. Christie, I know we haven't necessarily seen eye to eye lately, and there's next to no opportunity that you'd ever see this, but if you're thinking about your time running out as being governor of South Dakota, if you just go ahead and primary John Thune, like Orange Man has suggested not that long ago, that would be great, because as much as you kind of have a selective spine on things, you'd be a hell of a lot better than this fucking turtle surrogate. Any substantial disruption in the meat processing would further stoke mounting political concerns about the concentration of the meat industry and the complaints that the four giant companies control more than 80% of the U.S. beef processing unfairly, leveraging their power over farmers and consumers. Yeah, we get it, okay? It's always the guys, the mean guys up at the top. There's so many few people that own an overwhelming amount of the wealth or the control in a certain area. Whenever I hear that argument, I never actually hear what they're arguing for. More or less, it just seems like that old axiom. It's like the socialists, like Democrats out there. It's not that they care about the poor. They don't care about the working class. They don't care about the farmers in this example. They just hate the rich and they just hate the powerful. That's just always what that argument comes across as. Oh, there's so much wealth inequality. And it's like, okay, did they use the system to get up there? Yes. Was Jeff Bezos working 20-hour days? Yes. Are him and his wife evil? Potentially, based on the amount of money that they give to nefarious organizations. Sure, I'd be willing to listen to the fact that Jeff Bezos is a modern-day Lex Luthor. By no means is he a total package. Just shaped like one. His head looks like a dick. But it's like, what do you want, okay? Look at all of these corporations, okay? They didn't get to be that big because they were unsuccessful or because they were not good at what they were doing. Cargill, I know they own a couple of plants up in this neck of the woods. Okay, cool. Tyson, I know them for their chicken wings. JBS, those are the guys that were attacked, and they're slightly larger than Tyson, but yeah, it affects, Australia, Canada, and the United States. And Leucadia, I don't know, good luck to you. You're the little kid in the pond, but it's also one of those things, if you stay in the game, it's one of those things, right? It's, I forget the exact saying or what the exact findings are, but in the Fortune 500 companies, the ones up at the top, there's like just a couple that end up staying there for any significant amount of time. The amount of turnover of successful companies, there's no more U.S. Steel. It's long gone. It's in the past. Lehman Brothers, it was supposed to be around forever, right? And then 2008 happened. Right through the fucking floor. Shit happens, okay? So the people that like to complain about, there's so much power up at the top, you guys are just looking at one fucking snapshot in time. You don't understand history. That's the problem. These activists, these kids that are out there, they're just so badly educated. Some of it on purpose, some of it by accident. But what they're advocating for is just stupid. I don't know necessarily how a beef plant getting shut down eventually ended up with us talking about wealth inequality and power dynamics. But hey, I'm glad we're here and we could have this conversation, because at the end of the day, I think we all just want a nice steak when it's hot as fucking balls outside on the first day of June. What do people like to do when it's nice and hot outside? Well, they like to go watch a sporting event outside. Nice segue. And up here in our neck of the woods, we have the Canadian Football League. It's a hell of a lot of fun to go to one of these games, okay? I would highly recommend it. Saskatchewan looks like a total pisser. Been to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Great time, great game that we got to see there. And a whole handful of times I've been to an Edmonton Eskimos game. It is terrific. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say Eskimos? That's apparently racist or something, and we're going to dig through those numbers, because when I seen this last year when they decided to change their name in the wake of all the Black Lives Matter stuff, oh, this one made my head explode. I don't like the Eskimos, okay? I'm a long time Calgary Stampeders fan, and that's the big rivalry I've been told and engaged in, of course. But the fact that they bend the knee to literally nobody, we've been investigating this for a long time, and we're going to put a new name out there, and all of their options were fucking stupid. And the Edmonton Elks, whatever. This is still the exact same professional sports league who has their official merchandise with diversity as their strength across their chest. I've given up on the CFL. Like I've said, it's a hell of a lot of fun to those games when you go, but I also haven't watched in, oh my god, about the same time that they started to put that shit across, all that propaganda across their state-sponsored play, because they get a big benefit from the Canadian government, and then they also get subsidized while they're completely owned by TSN, which is also a subsidiary of the Bell Corporation, which is massively subsidized by the Canadian government. So it's kind of like sports-sponsored sports ball, or state-sponsored sports ball. It's fucking weird. So what do we got here? Well, we got the Edmonton Elks. Fucking oof. CFL team formerly known as the Edmonton Eskimos has unveiled their new team name. I wonder if they're going to enforce it. If you're up in the crowd and you're just cheering for the Eskimos, are they just going to come around and hand out fines because you're dead naming the professional sports team? What about all that old merchandise here? You're not allowed to wear the old double E logo because it would be a hate crime. Well, we'll get into the numbers here, but nobody called for this. Nobody wanted this except for the virtue signaling CEO. This bitch. So yeah, they're going to be the Edmonton Elks, even though it wasn't an option. Weird. Elks was not on the short list of team names that residents of Edmonton voted on, although Elk was, because the Edmonton Elk sounds like such an appealing name and doesn't sound contrived or stupid whatsoever. Other potential names included the Evergreens. Ugh. Yeah, that's tough. Trees. Evergolds? Fuck off. You get it? Because they're green and gold. That's their team colors. Eclipse. Now you just sound like a woman's soccer team. Elkhounds. Stop it. Eagles. I guess, but that's so generic it hurts. And the Elements. That sounds like a Pee-wee sports team. Yeah, one interesting tidbit. Elk Singular was on the team short list of names that 38,000 fans voted on earlier this month. Fans in quotation, and 38,000, that wouldn't even fill Commonwealth Stadium, or whatever they're pretending to call it now. So, yeah, overwhelming majority of people wanted this name change, right? On July 3rd, yeah, this was last year, Janice Agrios, chairwoman of the team's board of directors. Always a woman bending the knee. Being in charge of a sports team, bending the knee to no one. Like I said before, I'm talking about the conglomerate, the entire collective, the more nurturing, hospitable, neurotic, emotionally aware group of people known as women. But this broad, she just came up with this out of nowhere because the fires were so hot in Portland that you could feel them up here in Edmonton. We began our research and engagement program 3 years ago, and it produced zero results until you decided everything was at its peak, that you needed to hop on that bandwagon for great fan support. But as you can see, nobody fucking cared, and you got massive backlash for this. We'll see what the turnout for the season opener, because the CFL was stupid enough to take 1 year off because they couldn't get enough government financing in order to start up their team, or their 2020 season. Again, why would you support the CFL at this point? Because we believe that it was the utmost importance to have input from the Inuit regarding our name. The Inuit, group of native Canadians, natives that live up north. Edmonton is the most northern CFL franchise holding team, or city rather. So I guess it would have the biggest connection with the north. But at the same time, in order to get to the Northwest Territories border, you still have like a 10-hour drive from Edmonton in order to get there. So why are you paying attention to people that far north? Why are you not listening to an overwhelming majority of the people, and they told you that, yeah, no, this definitely isn't offensive to say Eskimo? Nobody thinks it's offensive, except for you, Janice. The research revealed that 78% of the Western Arctic Inuit oppose the team name changing. 78% of Western Arctic Inuit. That would be an overwhelming majority of the ones that would be close enough to get reception for a CFL game. In Nunavut, which is more likely to be Bombers fans, if you were to take a look at the map, where we are still working on building our relationships. So people you don't even know that well, people who don't really support your team whatsoever. Okay, 55% of Inuit oppose a change. Oh, okay, so the majority still oppose a name change. Okay. In Eastern Arctic, okay, so even further away, people who would probably be more attuned to what's happening over in Iceland and Greenland, where the results identified little connection with the team, 31% of Inuit oppose a name change. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? An overwhelming majority, because most of them live out west, because you got the Yukon Territory, you got the Northwest Territories, and then you got most of Nunavut. All in the bandwagon that, you can probably just leave it with the name that it has, because A, we don't care, and B, what is Canadian football? But yeah, of course, it always comes back to money. It's the same reason why John Cena decided to bend the knee and suck the Chinese dick. However, on July 7th, Bel Air Direct, one of the team's major sponsors, said they would drop the team if they kept the name. Yeah, and guess what? Many other sponsors would have filled that void. So you just had an opportunity, something you were trying to do a long time ago, and you just capitalized on the opportunity. So God bless. Hopefully your team fails. Hopefully your team name fails. I hope nobody buys any merchandise, and you lose your job. Nothing would make me happier, because you just ruined a legacy of a team that's been around since, in one form or another, since the early 1900s. So thanks for nothing, bitch. You fucking ruined a dynasty. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.